I'll never forget the way those red and blue lights flickered off Karen's immaculate front lawn, almost making her precious garden gnome look like it was blushing from embarrassment. And trust me, if you'd seen the way she was standing there, arms crossed, all high and mighty, smirking, like she was about to win some kind of neighborhood award for most persistent pain in the butt, you'd understand why that sight still makes me chuckle. She thought she finally had us. After weeks of her little power plays, she just knew this was her big moment. Spoiler, she was dead wrong. So picture this. I'm watching from inside, glued to the security camera feed, like it's a Netflix drama, and here come two cops moving slow, one of them already fiddling with his earpiece. I see his whole face shift from business as usual to hang on a second. Then right there in front of Karen, he says, "Ma'am, dispatch is telling us this is a false report." There's no emergency at this address. I'm telling you, Karen's jaw hit the ground so hard, I thought she might have to file a complaint with her dentist. And she snaps, "That's impossible. I heard screaming. There's something suspicious happening in there." Classic Karen, dialing up that pitch to the point where dogs 3 streets over probably perked up. What she didn't know was that the person who'd answered her 911 call was my wife, Elaine. Elaine's an emergency dispatcher, and she's dealt with more drama over the phone than any soap opera star. The second she heard Karen's voice, she knew exactly what was going on. Let me back up a sec. Elaine and I had just moved into what we thought was our forever home about 3 months earlier. Beautiful house right on the edge of Oakwood Estates. Technically not even inside the HOA, which is kind of hilarious given what happened next. The folks who sold us the house made sure we had every document proving we weren't under HOA rules, but apparently nobody told Karen Wilkins, self-declared president of all things petty. The first week she's on our porch with her little clipboard doing her best Stepford wife impression, welcoming us to the neighborhood, but already eyeballing our place for violations. She says, "Your mailbox isn't up to community standards. You'll need to replace it within 7 days." I tried to tell her as politely as I could, "Ma'am, we're not part of the HOA." She didn't want to see the paperwork. Instead, she drops this thick binder seriously. It looked like a college textbook in my hands, full of the wildest rules you've ever seen. Paint colors, garden gnome height, holiday decorations. The woman was obsessed. Week 2, she's back now, it's our landscaping. Then the porch lights. Then she's leaving violation notices taped to our mailbox, even though she's got no authority. Elaine kept telling me to ignore her, but ignoring Karen is like ignoring a raccoon in your attic. If you don't deal with it, things get messy. Pretty soon she's parked out front, snapping photos, sometimes sitting in her golf cart for 15 minutes, measuring our hedges with a tape measure, blocking our driveway, so we can't even pull in. One day she traps me, lectures me for 20 minutes on community responsibility. I just about lost it, but kept my cool. Until we got a certified letter claiming we owed $750 in fines. That was my breaking point. I put up a security gate at the end of our driveway, not even that fancy, just enough to make it clear private property keep out. Boy, did that set her off. Next thing I know, she's leaving voicemails, demanding the code for emergency access, threatening legal action, quoting rules that don't even exist. I started saving every message, every crazy note, everything. Elaine, being the level-headed one, says maybe we ought to get a restraining order. Then came that morning. I'm working from home minding my own business when the gate buzzer goes off over and over. Security camera shows Karen finger mashed on the button like she's playing a slot machine, her face set like she's storming the Bastille. I answer more out of curiosity than anything, and she launches into, "You need to open this gate immediately. I've received a complaint about your property and need to conduct an inspection." I try one last time, "Karen. You know we're not in the HOA. You don't have the right to inspect anything here. Please stop." She flips screaming, "Don't you dare tell me what my authority is. I've been president for 7 years. When I refuse, she storms off. For about 20 minutes, I think maybe that's the last of it for the day. Nope. I check the camera again and see her on the phone, all dramatic, waving her arms toward our house. I turn up the volume. Yes, I need police immediately. I heard screaming. They won't open the gate. Someone might be hurt. I couldn't believe it. She was calling 911, making up some story. My stomach just dropped. I call Elaine at work, but she's on duty, can't answer. So I just watch helpless as Karen paces by our gate like she's waiting for her Oscar. What I didn't know then was that Elaine had picked up the call. She recognized Karen's voice right away, knew it was our address, but had to follow protocol. She quietly flagged it as a likely false report, but still sent officers for a welfare check. Not even 10 minutes go by, and a police cruiser pulls up. Karen makes a beeline, acting like she's the star witness in a crime drama, pointing and shouting. I go out, ID in hand, leave the gate closed behind me. Officers, I'm the homeowner. There's no emergency, just months of harassment from the HOA president here, even though our property isn't under HOA rules. The one officer checks his earpiece, nods, then says, "Sir, is your wife Elaine Miller?" I nod. She's on dispatch and gave us the backstory here. That's when Karen's whole act starts to crumble. He turns to her. "Ma'am, did you call 911 reporting screams?" She doubles down. "Yes, and they wouldn't open the gate. Now the officers had enough. The dispatcher who took your call is this gentleman's wife. She informed us you've harassed this family repeatedly, and there was no emergency." Karen's face goes pale. "She's covering for her husband," she shouts, but the second officer steps up. "Ma'am, all 911 calls are recorded. We have your exact words. Dispatch noted you've made similar claims about other residents who didn't go along with you." By now, a crowd's gathered neighbors who'd had enough of her too. Then, as if the whole neighborhood had been waiting for a sign, the first officer says, "Karen Wilkins, you're being placed under arrest for filing a false police report and misuse of emergency services." Watching her process that, you could almost hear the gears grinding in her head. "This is ridiculous. I'm the HOA president. You can't arrest me for looking out for the community." But they absolutely could and did. While they walked her to the cruiser, she hissed at me, "This isn't over." I just shrugged and said, "Actually, Karen, I think it is." The neighbors were dead silent at first, then a few started nodding. Some even looked relieved. One old guy never spoke to him before comes up to me and says, "We've been wanting to say something for years, but nobody had the guts. Turns out we weren't the only ones." After giving my statement, I go back in and finally reach Elaine, who tells me she made sure every second of that call was flagged and recorded. 3 weeks later, Karen's in court, and the judge, who honestly looked like he was trying not to laugh, threw the book at her. $5,000 fine, a year's probation, 200 hours of community service, and a restraining order keeping her 100 feet away from us. That wasn't even the best part. The HOA had an emergency meeting. And for the first time in I don't know how many years, everybody turned up. She got voted out unanimously. Turns out she'd been terrorizing half the block. They basically frog-marched her out of the meeting. The look on her face, I'll be honest, it was priceless. Pure disbelief. Now, some folks might say that was the end of it. And for a little while, it was quiet. But in a place like Oakwood Estates, drama never really goes away. It just waits for the next spark. Who knows? Maybe next time it'll be my turn in the hot seat. Or maybe Karen's plotting her comeback somewhere down the street. You know what I mean? Anyway, let's hear what shot you all think. Did justice really get served here? Or is this just another round in the never-ending war of suburbia? Ever dealt with a neighbor like Karen, or maybe you? Were the Karen ones? Drop your stories and your take on what's right, what's over the line, and whether you think community rules do more harm than good. I'm ready for the drama.